In this lesson, we're going to be talking about consumer math. This is the type of math that you will be using when you're a consumer in the real world. The first type of math that we're going to talk about here is a discount. You've probably heard of a discount before, maybe around the holidays when there are different items at different stores for 30% off or 60% off. A discount is a deduction from the usual cost of something. Let's look at these two examples. Jack wants to buy a new video game at GameStop. The video game originally cost $60.75, but the after Christmas sale has it listed as 15% off. What is the discount? Okay, in this problem, we're trying to figure out how much money is going to be taken off of the original price of the video game. The original price of the video game costs $60.75, and it says here that the Christmas sale has it listed at 15% off. So we have to use our skills from the previous section on percent of a number to figure out what is 15% of $60.75. So let's go ahead and figure that out. In the last section, we talked about taking that number, which is $60.75, and multiplying it by our percentage. Now, before I write down the percentage, you have to remember that a percentage has to be turned into a decimal before you can multiply it. So in our case, it's going to be 0.15. That's going to be the percentage. And the way that I did that, I'm just going to go up here to the side. I have 15%, and I'm going to move the decimal 1 space, 2 space to give me that 0.15 decimal. So I'm going to go ahead and calculate that. And remember, with percent of a number, we always use multiplication. That's going to give me the number 9.1125. Now, that is the percent, that is 15% of $60.75. But we want to know this in terms of money, right? We want to know how much money are we going to deduct from that price. And in our case, we have to take this big number out to the hundredths place, which is where we always round money to. So just a little review on rounding. So I'm going to put a little line under that 1. And remember, we always look at the number to the right, and that's going to determine whether we leave the 1 as is or if we bump it up to a 2. So you can see the 2, you might have heard the little saying, 4 and below, let it go, 5 and above, give it a shove. So you can see that this is 4 and below, so I'm going to let it go. So this is going to end up being 9.11. But remember, we're talking in terms of money, so this is going to be $9.11. So $9.11 is going to be the discount that Jack would get off of this video game if he purchased it. Now, that doesn't mean that he's going to spend $9.11 on the video completely. This is just saying, what is the discount? So how much money are we going to be taking off? So in this next question, we're actually going to go one step further. So let's take a look. At Target, a $29.99 dress is marked on sale for 20% off. What is the sale price of the dress? Notice how this question is different than the previous question. This question is saying, what is the sale price of the dress? The word sale price means, well, how much is the consumer going to pay for the dress as they go to the cashier? Whereas the previous question was asking us how much money is going to be taken off of the video game. Two different questions. So let's go ahead and figure out this, this Target question. The dress is $29.99 and it's 20% off. So we need to figure out what 20% of that number is. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply it by my 20%, which is 0.20. I'm going to go ahead and calculate that, and feel free to go ahead and use your calculator to do this. And I'm going to go ahead and write out the whole number that is on my calculator. So 5.998. All right. So that right there, I need to go ahead and take that number. I need to round to the hundredths place. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to underline my hundredths place, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to look to the right. You can see it's 5 and above, so I need to give it a shove. But if you think about this in terms of money, don't we have $5.99 and we need to round it up 1 penny? If we round $5.99 up 1 penny, that's going to bring us to $6. So I'm going to go ahead and change that to $6. I'm not done with this question. Now, if it was asking me for the discount, then, or if it was asking me for just what is the discount amount, it would be $6. But this is asking me for the sale price. So I have to go one step further. Now I want to take my $29.99 and I actually want to subtract that $6 because remember, discount is a good thing. It's taking money off of the original price so we don't have to pay it anymore. So $29.99 minus $6 is going to leave me with $23.99, which is going to be calculated as my sale price. So instead of paying that $29.99 for the dress, I took the discount or the coupon, and instead I'm paying $23.99. Okay, so that is how discount works. Now let's go ahead and look at another type of consumer math. This is called tax. Tax is a sum of money collected by a government for its support of specific facilities or services. And oftentimes when you, well, all the time actually, when you go to the store or when you go to a restaurant, you will have to pay a sales tax or a food tax. And that's just a little bit of additional money that is going to be on top of your actual receipt. So let's go ahead and talk about tax. The first example says, Scott was shopping and purchased a new baseball bat for $49.50. If the sales tax is 4%, how much tax will Scott have to pay on the bat? So the bat has a label on it or has a price tag at the store of $49.50, but Scott cannot leave the store paying exactly $49.50. He's going to have to pay some tax. So let's go ahead and figure out what is 4% of $49.50. So I'm going to go ahead and say $49.50. And again, I'm going to go ahead and multiply it by my percentage, which is 4%. Now you have to be very careful here because 4% is a tricky one. 4% looks like this, 4%, but I'm going to move my decimal not only once, but twice, giving me a placeholder of 0. So when you multiply it, you have to multiply it by 0.04. Be real careful there. And so let's go ahead and find 4% of $49.50 in our calculators. That's going to give me $1.98. Notice there isn't any rounding to do right here. Sometimes you will have some rounding to do like the previous problems. So $1.98 is going to be the tax that Scott is going to pay on the baseball bat. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this as $1.98. You notice that it's not really a lot of money, but because the baseball bat wasn't very expensive, the more expensive the product is, the more tax you're going to pay on it. For example, you can see here that the bat was only about $50 and the tax was not that much. But let's say you're purchasing something like a car or a boat or, those are pretty huge items, but, even something like an iPad. An iPad is significantly more than $50. Therefore, you will pay much more tax on that product. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about another product, and this one is a little bit more expensive. Okay, Karen bought a new couch at Costco. The couch cost $699.99. If the sales tax is 5%, how much did Karen pay for the couch? So this is saying, well, how much did she pay for the couch out the door? Meaning, how much did she pay the cashier? So let's go ahead and figure out what 5% of $699.99 is. So $699.99 times my percentage. Remember, I have to move it over twice, so it's going to be 0.05. And let's go ahead and do our calculator, or calculations in the calculator. This number I'm going to have to round. I have 34 and then 9995. Okay, I need to round this number to the hundredths place. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to look to the right, 5 and above, give it a shove. You can see that my my cents is 99 cents. So I have to increase that up to $1. So I'm actually going to be changing this to $35. Excuse me. So this is right here. This is my discount. I'm sorry, not my discount, my tax. This is my tax. So this is how much tax she's going to be paying on top of the couch. A little bit more than the baseball bat, would you say? Now, the question is asking, how much is she going to pay for the couch in full? So I have to take it one step further, and I have to take $699.99, and I have to add the tax. So that's going to be adding that $35 to it. So I'm going to go ahead and calculate it in my calculator. And that's going to equal $734.99. And that is going to be how much the couch is going to cost before she leaves Costco. So you can see, just because the price is $699.99 doesn't mean that that's how much is going to come off her credit card. There's actually going to be a little bit more, which is the tax. All right, I have one more concept of consumer math for you, and it is tip. Now, sometimes, like looking back at what we just talked about, discounts, they usually happen whenever different stores are having sales for different reasons. And tax is more of a set number, meaning different states will have different sales tax, and you'll have to abide by those state laws. Now, a tip is more of a generous gift. It's basically giving someone money to thank them for their service. So people that you normally tip are waiters and waitresses at restaurants, taxi drivers, hair salon stylists, and people with different professions that are service workers. So let's look at these two examples to calculate the tip. James's family has dinner out at Red Lobster. The subtotal was $85. If they want to leave a 20% tip, how much tip do they leave for the waiter? So the tip, the waiter must have been very good, because normally in America, you usually leave your waiter or waitress about a 10 to 20% tip, depending on how well your service was. So we need to figure out what 20% of $85 is. So just like before, I'm going to go ahead and figure out that percentage. So $85 times 20%, which we know is 0.20 if I move that decimal over twice. So 85 times 0.2, that's going to give me 17. So my tip would be $17, and that would be how much money I'm going to put in addition to how much I'm spending on my food. So this is kind of the gift for the waiter or waitress for their service. The last question. The Jackson family went to the Cheesecake Factory to celebrate Melanie's 18th birthday. The meal cost $108.60. They want to leave a 10% tip. How much is the meal including the tip? So let's go ahead and figure out what 10% of $108.60 is. So $108.60 times my 0.10, or my 10%. I'm going to go ahead and calculate that in my calculator. And that's going to leave me with $10.86. Notice how I didn't have to round any numbers there. Sometimes you will. Now, that right there is the tip. So $108.60 is how much my meal cost, and $10.86 is how much I want to pay them as a gift. So if I want to know what is how much is the whole meal, including the tip, I'm going to take my meal, and I'm going to go ahead and add the tip to it. And that's going to be how much I'm going to spend out of my wallet. So $108.60 plus $10.86 is going to be $119.46. So you'll notice that the higher the cost of the meal, the more tip that you're going to leave. So if you go to a restaurant, perhaps like Applebee's versus the Cheesecake Factory, you might not be leaving as much of a tip unless you're feeling very generous, just because your meal will not be as expensive. And the more expensive the meal, the more tip you'll leave for your waiter or waitress. All right, that brings us to an end of our lesson on consumer math.